Cool. Welcome back to Hot Mike. I'm Mike McCran. Today I'm joined by my friend Dario Ortega. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Thanks for being on the pod.
No problem. Thanks
really
for having
appreciate it. Episode 5. So thanks for being a part of these early days of the podcast.
the top 5.
Exactly.
At the moment.
Your top 5 guest.
Yes. It's great.
Appreciate having you.
Yeah.
Love your perspective on mainly film and fighting. That's kind of the thing that brought us together is UFC, MMA.
Yeah.
Both fans of that. And then we're both filmmakers. You much more than I am.
Everyone's a filmmaker.
In a long... Yeah, they are now.
Yes.
They are these days.
Yes.
So I thought a cool topic for us to talk about today would be MMA in film.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone done it right? If so, who? Who's done it the worst? We'll run the gamut. We'll see.
Yeah. That's
I haven't. I certainly haven't seen all the MMA films. I prefer the real thing.
Yeah.
But on occasion, it's done well.
Yeah.
In cinema, and to kick it off, I'm wondering if there's anything that jumps to mind where you think of mixed martial arts really being done well in a movie that you love.
Yeah, it's tough because like in a movie, it's the thing that's in conflict with actual like MMA is like making it awesome and like super duper like action. These people are usually not, athletes and stuff, so they kind of fudge a little bit. The first one that came to mind, I was thinking about this a lot yesterday, was Warrior.
Okay.
That one, because it just makes sense. It's like they actually do like grappling. That's like the few that I've seen like actual like grappling.
Yeah.
And then the other one I was thinking of that does a really good job is actually Foxcatcher.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling. So because that one was like really well done when it comes to like the technical spots of like what I think is technical spots. I'm not an authority, but I was like, that looks like legit wrestling.
I was impressed with the technical sparring that
Yeah.
was being done by Mark Ruffalo and Channing Tatum.
Yeah, those were the two that came to mind first. As far as like realistic, like as far as like unrealistic, I mean,
where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start? It's like Bloodsport, like completely unrealistic. Love the movie, though.
Love it. Oh, totally. I have that down on my list as well. Is Bloodsport?
Yeah.
Didn't do it so well, but I
Yeah.
still love the movie. It
Yeah.
still works.
It has the vibe that like you feel like when you watch UFC, there's like this like intense anxiety because of just like the stakes. And that one was one of the few movies like at the time definitely felt like it kind of captured some of that energy.
Yeah.
But as far as realism, like no shot.
No way.
No way.
No, but I do like that it captures kind of the feel of the first UFC or the
Yes.
first several UFC tournaments that
Yeah.
were no weight classes. Anybody could come in with representing a different style.
Like pre-Pride still kicking heads.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
oh.
Absolutely. Warrior, definitely saw Warrior. I was blown away just by the story, the acting. Nick Nolte was
Nick Nolte,
incredible.
the comeback.
Absolutely great movie. And I thought, yeah, the shots and the depiction of the sport of mixed martial arts was definitely there. There's still just that feeling of like, this is a choreographed scene. I can tell
Yeah.
it's choreographed, but they're actually doing MMA moves, and
Yeah.
this is real grappling, or this is a good transition. Am I right in that they do it like a tournament style where they all fight like multiple fights in one night?
It was like a Grand Prix. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like an open Grand Prix, which is like, that's not realistic.
What
Not
if that
anymore.
was the case? Like, what if you got severely compromised, but then you still win the fight, and then you have to fight later that night with a concussion?
That was how they ran old Grand Prix, and if you couldn't fight, the people you lost to, if they could fight, they would just like basically jump and like would fight. Like they would. It didn't matter if they lost. If they could still fight, the Grand Prix was still going. Like the show goes on. But people, if I remember correctly, back in the early UFC and Pride when they did that, if you got hurt, like you're out. Like if you couldn't fight, you're out. But if your opponent who you beat could still go, or if someone else could still go, they would kind of just like keep the Grand Prix moving, or someone would get like a bye, I guess.
Yeah.
But
so not a fight scenario, but the violence is MMA. This is one of my favorite examples. Have you seen Haywire? It's a Steven Soderbergh film.
I don't think I have, or if I have, I don't remember.
The lead is played by Gina Carano.
Oh, I have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like basically Jason Bourne.
Excellent. Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly it. And she's got so many leading men in Hollywood that she's kind of lined up with and has to act opposite to.
Yeah.
And for not being a trained actor, or I think she did pretty well.
She did pretty
well.
well.
I think for the most part that the credit should go to probably Steven Soderbergh. But she's gone. I mean, she's had a little bit of speed bumps in her career in the last year.
A couple poor hot takes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, she was like what everyone hoped Ronda Rousey could act like.
Sure.
Because Ronda Rousey can't act.
No.
Although I have not seen her in.
She did Expendables or.
Yeah, she was in a couple of Expendables, and then she was in like some smaller roles. One was with Mark Wahlberg in some movie I never watched.
Okay.
But every time I saw her, I was like, you know, what do you do with that? That's tough.
But the action in that movie is so believable, particularly two scenes where she kicks the shit out of Channing Tatum and Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
And I think it's so believable that I'm like, oh, she could actually take him.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gina Carano could probably actually take them.
I think so, too. Man, I am sweating up a storm. Yeah. Sorry, man.
No worries.
Loved the sauna today, but I'm still so hot in my core.
You're like recovering still. Got the residual heat.
Oh my God, I'm so hot right now.
I had the same thing happen. I did the sauna and like I took a shower. You made it like lukewarm to cold, you know, to like try to cool you down.
Totally.
Still sweating.
Yeah.
Half hour later.
I did it too. I stood in the cold shower for like 10 minutes. But I was in the sauna for like on and off for 40 minutes. And
that's a long time.
It was a lot. It was a lot. I've been missing it though. I haven't been in the sauna since pre-pandemic. So it's been like 19 months since I've done it.
I think, the last time I did a sauna was like 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. Because we went upstate and there was this little house and it had a Swedish sauna. It's like the one that looks like a barrel.
Oh my God, I love those.
Yeah, they had one of those in the backyard.
I've never been in it, but
It's nice.
I see the pictures.
Yeah,
online.
very majestic.
The screensaver on my phone is this absolutely gorgeous sauna that I think is in Norway. But yeah, there's.
Oh wow!
Isn't that gorgeous? And it looks out over a lake, and then the home is the other view.
Way. Oh, that's a nice sauna. I feel like it would take a minute to heat up, but like
totally, nice. That's a big room.
That's a big room.
But yeah, sauna. Sometimes I just find myself looking and fantasizing at saunas online, sauna porn.
Yeah, I got into more like the older I get, it's like real estate. Stuff. Saunas.
Yeah.
It's like just what happened to me?
What happened? God, I used to be exciting.
I'm looking at like gaming PCs and stuff. Like trying to figure that out. It's like, is it worth the investment? Then I like look at like what I want. It's like $5,000. I'm like, it's not worth the investment. I'm not that good.
What do you play on?
I lucked out. Got a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
I like basically what most people did to get the vaccine, which was like spam, like refresh at midnight on like a particular day. I did that for like a week and a half. On like following certain Twitter accounts, preparing web pages, creating accounts with like Walmart, Target, Best Buy, you know, whatever, making accounts, filling all my info out, like being ready at any given moment.
No shit.
For like a week and a half, and I got lucky and got one.
Oh wow.
I don't know if that's something I should like brag about, but I did it.
It
was the pandemic. Like you gotta get the wins.
Oh, totally.
Every once in a while. But I play on that. I play a lot of Warzone, which is like it's a Call of Duty game. So it's
cool.
So it's and I play with my friends. I'm like slightly above average.
Okay.
One or two of them is probably about average or above average. One of them is just bot. He's terrible. But we play every Thursday. We drink and.
Yeah, and that's what you got going on tomorrow night.
Yes, we drink. It's our ritual to like celebrate the week. We did it because like Fridays we can get through the day basically.
Sure.
But yeah,
something to celebrate each week. Come together with friends. Are these guys who are spread out throughout the country?
Now they are. Yeah. So one of them's in Florida. One of them is in Manhattan. But I haven't. You know the way New York works. I can't like I can see his apartment. It's across the river, like from where I'm at. And it's a 40-minute excursion to get to his place because of traffic and like subways because like everything is just
being in the same city together doesn't necessarily mean the same thing.
No, it's like I just drove 6 miles to get here. That would take like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
In New York.
Yeah.
I walked 3 miles to Lyric, 3.3 miles. It was about the same as me walking from like North Brooklyn, where I live, to like not even middle Brooklyn. Just kind of like, just because you have to stop at every street and like so it took the same amount of time and I went twice the distance, if not further.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are you liking it in the city?
Not really.
It's kind of a pain in the ass?
It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I don't really love it. I think you have to like be really a particular type of person to like it, and I think there are people who definitely it's like their vibe for sure. Like I know people, it's like, oh yeah, you seem like you love it here, and it's like,
it's made for this city.
Made for this. Mm-hmm. But after like the pandemic, and you like stop the grind, which get up at the crack dawn to get on the subway, pack into a sardine can, travel for 40 minutes with like strangers, which in hindsight it's like one of the most like crazy things. I remember I accidentally coughed on a woman, not because I wanted to, just because like swallowed wrong. Coughed.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, that was like, that's how close you were to people. Like you're chest to chest with a stranger for 40 minutes because you're in the highest traffic. You're at rush hour. Going to and from work.
Yeah.
By the time you get home, you're exhausted. And you got to cook dinner. It's like, fuck. You just want to order.
Do you cook at home a lot? Or is the temptation to order in?
We cook at home a lot. I don't cook as much as I used to. When I used to beat Augusta home, my partner.
Yeah.
I used to beat her home, and I used to cook almost all the meals. And now she just recently got a new job. Before she got that job, I don't know if she was feeling like as creative in that role. So she used a lot of that energy to, at least in my perspective, I don't know if she'd agree with this, to like come up with like find recipes, be creative on that side of things.
Nice.
Ever since then, she still does more of the cooking than I do, but there are definitely like faster meals now, and we're trying to like find like the shortcuts. To like meals, because she's busy and like she's doing a lot more creative work than I think definitely her last job. Which is great for her when it comes to more satisfied, but yeah, definitely more.
I want to know if you would agree with this, because this was my experience. I dated someone for about a year while she lived in New York, and I was still living back in Utah. And I'd go out and visit every couple of months, every 2 to 3 months. We would kind of trade on and off who would come visit who. And when I would get to New York, I'm sure this settles down once you live there, but my sensory overload would peak almost immediately with sights and sounds, and I'd turn into a different person. And she noticed it, and she would notice that I was just so on edge anytime I was in the city. And we'd go on like evening walks or jogs around her, and she lived in Crown Heights.
Oh yeah, I know where that is.
And nice neighborhood, but certainly just a lot of activity, and it would be car horns, people arguing, yelling. Like it was just, by the end of the walk or the jog, I would be an 11, and I'm just like on edge, irritable. Do you feel that when you're getting out and about and you're like going from A to B?
I used to at first.
Okay.
But that kind of gets beaten out of you by sheer exhaustion. Because you're just like so tired of like bringing that level of energy up that you just start like, shedding all of that out and really not caring about like anything other than your A to B.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why like when you go to New York, you see people, they're like locked in. They're just like, it's like whatever. We just saw somebody just like took a dump on the sidewalk, and they're just like, yeah, it just gets beaten out of you.
Okay.
By just like sheer, if you spend like a lot of time there, I'm sure eventually you would have been like,
oh, it's nothing. It's white noise.
It's white noise at this point. Yeah, I noticed it when I come back here. Like I came here, went to the walk to Lyric, saw like 6 people the entire walk, maybe. Yeah. And I was like, this is insane.
This is crazy.
A couple of weird things happened, which I didn't know was as weird as it was until it happened to me. People smiled and like nodded to me and like would
Yeah.
say hi as I walk by.
It's funny you say that because my girlfriend had to tell me to stop doing that to people.
Really?
Because I mean, I'm raised in the Midwest, like being friendly, waving at people or saying hi, how you doing? Like that's just ingrained in me.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're freaking people out. They think you're crazy.
Yes.
You gotta stop nodding or smiling at people on the subway. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. She's like, try. You gotta try.
Yeah, you just gotta lock it in, keep it inside, stare at something, but not anything particular. It's crazy.
So now that you're back and
Yeah.
you've got people nodding and you're
Yeah.
like, who's this crazy asshole?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, who are you?
yeah.
Who? Are you? Like, yeah, I had that happen to me on the walk. I had
Wow.
like a person, he like nodded at me, and I was like, do I know you? Like,
You want to go?
yeah, it's, like my instincts are just like, what are you? I had and then the next minute and a half, I'm like, do I remember him? Did I see him at a party? Like what? It's like
Yeah.
that happens again from somebody else. People also here say on your left,
Yes. Yeah.
not a thing.
Not a thing. You
No.
just blow past people.
People not even that. People blow past you.
Yeah.
You got to be head on a swivel. You know,
Yep.
just keeping taking it all in, make sure you're okay. But like people on bikes in New York, they don't care.
No.
No.
Wow. Yeah. It's like you better be minding your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
And keep your profile tight, or I'm just gonna ride right past you and shoulder
Yeah.
check you.
Or you just have to be like firm and just make sure you're a solid oak of a human and can take the hit. I guess I don't know. I'm more of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bring it in. Protect it. Protect
Sorry.
my vitals.
Am I in the way? Yeah.
I think I've got more of that personality as well.
Yeah.
And it does seem like there's a numbness that comes over you, or this like I just don't even care. I can't deal with that.
There's definitely pros and cons to that too, because I definitely noticed after being there for a long period of time, not as long as others, people spend their whole lives there, but I also think from what I've seen is you have to just be yourself, because it's so exhausting to like put on and like pretend to not be yourself, essentially. Because like you go to New York and like you want to, like some people I think like put a lot of effort into like maybe this facade. Like I think I did at the beginning too. Is like I'm a New Yorker, like I'm taking on stuff. It's like I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Like I just don't care anymore. I'm just gonna be myself. I'm wearing like dress socks right now. This is like my Stanley Kubrick shiny.
You look
hoodie.
good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it with the Wu-Tang too.
Yeah. It's just you and that's like where like you see a lot of those New York personalities. Like I think they have to be themselves. It's like far too exhausting to even pretend for even a small amount of time.
Good life lesson
It is.
of being more true to yourself.
It definitely helped me out. Like after a long period of time, even when my parents saw me, they were like, "You're a lot more like just yourself." I'm like, "You kind of have to be. I'm just so tired of like trying to like, fill or be a niche or whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever to be like different and stand out. It's like it's just too tiring.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like be myself, and
Wow.
if that stands out, then like that's great.
It's a great side effect.
Yeah, it's a
of
good
the
side
city
effect.
that I
It is.
would have never thought of.
Yeah, it's one of the pros to the vast list of cons I have. That is definitely one of the pros. I feel better about who I am because I just don't have the energy to not be myself at this point.
Wow.
From the sheer volume.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, because there's so much energy that's put into insecurities
Yeah.
around who am I? How does the world see me?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the world doesn't care.
That's another thing.
Like,
Nobody cares in New York.
yeah.
Like there's like I've seen some pretty crazy stuff, and most people just don't give a shit. Like they just walk. They're past it as soon as they get by it, and you kind of just have to be like that because it's just like it's pretty constant when you're making those commutes. I don't make the commutes anymore, but back then, like you see some weird stuff like pretty often, and like some real crazy people who just like do some like really unfortunate things publicly.
Oh, I bet it's sad to see. I'm just picturing some hypotheticals.
Yes.
I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff go down in cities like San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same probably there to some effect. Same with LA, I think, to some effect. But at least for me, like dealing with all that, it's just exhausting. Straight line.
I remember a story. This isn't crazy wild shit that happened, but it was my girlfriend at the time, her roommate, who was a guy who, young guy, and he was just kind of dating around, but he'd been dating this girl, and he decided he needed to break up with her, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna do it right here on the street corner.
Oof.
He's like, I'm not going back to her place. I'm just gonna end it right here. And I just remember being like, wow, that is such a classless move. Like, and she's crying in the street or whatever. And he was so cold about it, but he was like, there's no privacy in this city. So
there's not.
He was like, so we're just gonna do it right here in front of everybody. Like, and I was like, man, that is ice cold.
Yeah, I mean, and then I would imagine like 50 people walked by and probably looked a couple times, and they're like, I think they just broke up or something.
Yeah.
But like within like 48 hours, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's out of their head completely. They may even mention it at like the office, be like, I think I saw a couple break up on the sidewalk. It was pretty crazy. And they're like, oh yeah, I saw like X, Y, and Z, and they're like, oh yeah, and like
then it's
out. Because like you'll probably see something of similar weirdness and unusualness happen within the next 48 hours. If you are commuting, probably. I don't see it as much. I stay at home now.
Yeah.
Pandemic.
One of the craziest things that she told me, my girlfriend at the time, while she was living there, she's like, I take the same train to work, the same route, every single day of the week, and I never see the same face twice.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind. But it was like, yeah, that's the sheer volume of people that are moving through these subways and through these streets each and every day.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's not, and hasn't been my reality. It's like being around that amount of congestion.
Yeah, that's something I would say it's pretty accurate. I would say like occasionally one person you'd see like, oh, I think I saw him like a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gets off like around this spot.
Okay.
But like other than that, it's mostly people you never see again. Makes you wonder about dreams where you like don't, you fill your dreams with like faces and stuff. It's like it makes you wonder like how many I got in the catalog now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody that you would actually recognize if you saw them again.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys think you will stay in New York?
We will probably for the short term. We're in this weird conversation literally at the moment about trying to find a new apartment and the cost versus like just getting a house in nearby and trying to like commute in if we have to commute. I don't have to necessarily commute.
You're pretty much fully remote at this stage.
Yeah, we're pretty much fully remote. I have to come in on occasion to shoot in the city because the city just has so many more resources than, outside the city, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I need to be able to come in the city like at least once or twice a month. So I'll need to be able to at least commute in.
Okay.
And I'll for sure would be miserable for 2 days to live in a house. Like that's an easy trade for me. Mm-hmm. Tell me I have like a sauna or just another office or like more than one bathroom.
Yeah.
Like to like disappear into for a second and trade that in for like 2 days of just misery and driving. I'll definitely take it.
Yeah.
But it's either we get an apartment or we get a place, but we're kind of at the moment where we probably need to save for one more year just to make sure because we probably get a place, but we'd be like pretty strapped like for money at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's just like expensive as shit.
How far outside of the city would you need to go?
I don't know. I guess that always flirts with like getting real far out there, and I'm like, that's a long commute. I don't know. But it's
like nice. That's another state away.
Yeah. Because it's kind of crazy how New York is. It's like New York City is pretty far from like there's so much more outside Manhattan and New York City that is pretty beautiful. It's like pretty nice. It's very similar to like Colorado but more trees because like they're not as high up.
Okay.
And no desert. They're not a desert. So
right.
Like, a little more like humid greenery. But I would only you only need to be about outside the city. I mean, half hour. You're like in kind of the woods at that point.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 45 minutes. You're kind of in the
Aren't there some
trees.
Gorgeous properties in New Jersey?
Yeah. There's like nice stuff in like New Jersey too. New Jersey's like kind of like a weird small state that has like kind of a lot of land, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, people don't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like you think of New Jersey, you think of like right next to New York, and like there's this weird mindset. Like at least when I was growing up, it's like New Jersey It's next to New York. It's like New York, but it's a little smaller. But it's like a whole state with like things.
Totally.
Which like doesn't come.
It's kind of like people think New Jersey, and these are people who are not from the East Coast or anything, but they think it's all Newark.
Yeah.
Just like I grew up in Michigan, everyone just thinks it's all Detroit.
Yes.
And it's like, not my experience. No. That's not where I lived. I lived nowhere near that, and it was beautiful, lush, and green. And
yeah, same. Like I tell people I'm from Colorado, and they're like, "Oh, Denver." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not really close to me, but yeah."
Oh, you know what I get is like, "Oh my God, it must be so cold and snowy there all the time."
Yeah. No.
And it was like, no. I mean, we get snow, and it's beautiful, but then there's like bluebird sky after that, and it's gorgeous, and it warms up into the 50s in January.
Yeah, and it's like the one thing that I've noticed that Colorado has is like hot cold days and cold hot days. So it's like it snows, but the sun is so bright and stuff, and it's like 20 degrees though, but you're like hot. You're hot in a coat. That doesn't really happen in New York. You're either like bone cold or just hot, like sweating sauna hot. There's no like weird intermittent, like when you like go skiing, like the sun's reflecting off the snow. Yeah. You can't wear like a coat. You're like zipping up and stuff.
It's like I'm hot as hell right now.
Yeah, I'm hot.
Yeah.
It's kind of hot out.
How was the winter? How are you liking the winters or disliking the winters in New York?
I kind of prefer obviously like spring and fall. Obviously for weather reasons. The one thing I was really curious about when I got to New York was where they put the snow. Turns out they don't really put it anywhere. They just like move it off to the side a little bit.
Wait for it to melt.
Yeah. And like it snows kind of a lot. So it's kind of a shit show. That's kind of that's one I don't like. And it turns black.
It's just it might be beautiful the day of. Yeah, the day maybe of, the day after, but then it's just
beautiful.
Just turns into
it's just like
a mess.
Fuck? And then like people put their trash out. It's like the snow. I don't know.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be curious to see what you guys do and where you go.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, we have a house somewhere and sauna.
Oh, my God.
Game room.
Sauna and a game room.
Oh, game room.
Mm-hmm.
Theater. I don't know. Thoughts?
Hell yeah.
That'd be great. But
hell yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, as Vanessa and I plan for the future and we're looking at like where do we want to be, it's like, do we want to look at a place that's not all that sought after so that we can get a lot more bang for our buck, I guess. It's like more land, more space. Like it seems to be the trend where you've got a lot size and then you put a house on it that maxes out that lot, and then the house right next to you is maxed out, and so your house is like 20 feet away from your neighbor. And so everybody's right on top of each other. Whereas I love these neighborhoods where you've got a bigger plot of land, you got a more modest house, you got more of a yard, space to garden, a little more room to frolic. And
well,
it depends. Yeah.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
That's got some like really
nice
spots.
That's a good place. Yeah.
It's a good spot.
I've actually thought and
missed a shit out of you, but like,
I know.
It'd be a nice spot.
Yeah. I've thought about that. I think there's a dream if I could have a studio and a gallery for my art in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And just be a painter and a podcaster.
That'd be pretty dope.
That would be a dream.
That's a lit life.
That is a dream that I could hand a business card and it just says painter and podcaster.
Painter podcaster.
Yeah.
The 2 P's.
Yeah.
Alliteration.
PP.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a couple more films that are in this. I loved this little sidetrack on New York because I was really interested in what you were thinking of it and how you were liking it. Because
there's definitely things I do like about it, like the food. Obviously, it's like
that's what everybody says, and I absolutely agree. It's the best food I've ever had in my life. Like, yeah. One day we just went and like ate our way through Chinatown.
Oh my God.
And spent maybe $20.
Yeah.
Like it was insane food.
I didn't have dim sum, bao, like good udon was like not a part of my life. And it's like now it's like I don't know if I could like live without any of those things.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, I bet it has completely curbed like what you can tolerate as far as ethnic food or authentic ethnic
The Mexican food here is better, but like they have like more variety of like just like solid food, like good food. Oh my gosh.
And variety.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you do the streetcars too, or the carts?
I haven't in a minute. Obviously, pandemic.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But like we used to, there's like a good Euro spot that was like just outside of our office. The little cart, good Euros. Really good. There was one cart that was on our block. I never had it. I believe it was Mexican food.
You're making me hungry.
I know.
Yeah, I had a buddy who was he was from Long Island, but that's all he talked. He was just like, the food. You got to come with me, and we're just gonna.
That's what you go
eat for 3 days.
I feel like if I leave New York and I travel back, the things I will miss the most are like the food spots that like Augusta and I have pegged down as like this is like we got to go back there. Like it's worth the trip just to like fucking just stuff our faces.
Now, is anything closed? Like permanently closed? Like a spot that you loved that didn't survive?
Fortunately, no. But their menus definitely had to change.
Okay.
I think there's been a lot of like stuff like that where menus had to change to meet the cost demand and what they could like kind of make. But some of my favorite dishes have died, but most of the places that fortunately have made it. So some other things haven't. Like there's a really good clothing shop nearby that did not make it, but you know, be like that unfortunately.
Seems like the majority are going to survive, but yeah, a couple of those gems.
Yeah.
Will fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Back to the topic, MMA and film. No, we're good, man. This is meant to meander.
Yes.
So we're totally fine. I wanted to go back to kind of the king of MMA.
Okay.
To Bruce Lee.
Okay. Yes.
And talk about Enter the Dragon.
Yes.
And Return of the Dragon.
Okay.
Where I believe Return of the Dragon is maybe the first example of a mixing of styles that you see in a film, and it's during the Chuck Norris fight scene where they fight in the Coliseum.
Yes, I remember that scene.
And he's mixing it up, and he's throwing like oblique kicks, like techniques that we're seeing effective in the octagon
very effective
today.
Yes, that's a great call out. Holy crap. Yeah. I mean, what a scene. Chuck Norris, legend. Also poor hot takes, but legend in the martial arts realm. Yeah, I mean, so much of what Bruce Lee did to influence martial arts, even like just like actual legit martial arts, is kind of crazy because he's been dead for like forever. I can't even call the number off the top of my head. I feel like he died late 70s or mid 70s.
I think you're right. I think let's see, Enter the Dragon, I believe was released posthumously. Is that the word? He completed it.
I think
or it's Game of Death.
Game of Death was
Game of Death. They had to complete it with another actor.
That movie is terrible, but the fight scenes with like him going up
the floors,
the floors are the best. I think
outstanding.
I think those are his best fight scenes. Unfortunately, the movie is really bad because of like
he died. They couldn't finish production, so they had to. They're like
they did it. Do you know there's a scene with a still image over
of his coffin?
Of his head over the guy acting.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, totally.
It looks terrible.
It's just pasted on the film.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
I believe there's actual footage from Bruce Lee's funeral. His actual funeral put into the movie.
Wow.
Because in the story, in the plot, boy, it's been a while since I've watched Game of Death. But
it's a tough rewatch. I feel like it's a good like you watch the fights.
Just watch the fights.
Yeah, because like the one with like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's great.
It's a great fight. That's one of the best sequences ever.
Yeah,
where it's like he's just knocking him down to get him back up, so he's tired.
Yeah,
it's like such a like there's like a strategy involved in this fight as opposed to like where like you actually just. Two guys beating the crap out of each other, which you see in a lot of movies where it's like brute force wins. It's like, no, he picks up, what is it? He picks up the weapon. It's super flexible. It's not a whip, but it's like,
I do remember.
Reed. It's like a reed of some kind.
Oh,
yes. It's supposed to like represent his flexibility.
Marking up that dude's face.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. Cause it's like, he took these like elements of martial arts, cinemized them, but also gave them a level of logic that would create a narrative within the fight
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think we even still to this day see very often.
Right.
Usually we see, I love John Wick, but like
Mm-hmm.
they're just beating the shit out of each other and shooting guns.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Don't
It's
get me
fun.
wrong. I love it, but it's like to compare them, it's like I have a hard time being like, is Keanu Reeves a better martial art filmmaker than Bruce Lee? It's like, no.
No.
But that's okay though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what he's doing too. I think
love it.
the first John Wick.
If you don't know what you're going there for, you know what you're going there for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
If you're not going there to see a cinematic masterpiece in like.
I'm here for the story.
Yeah.
I'm here for the dead wife and the puppy that gets murked.
And like, kind of more or less forgot about after that point in the sequels. Like, it's brought up a little bit, but it's mostly like just him like trudging through just waves of humans.
Yeah.
So
isn't there a body count like of the first film? I'll admit that I kind of fell off. I did see the second one.
Yeah.
But then I was like, the older I get, the gunfights aren't as appealing to me as like a really good narrative, a good storyline.
It's a great airplane movie. Like if it's on like an airplane, it's like I'll watch John Wick 3.
Yeah.
Like
nice.
Yeah, I just watched. Speaking of like great airplane movies, Bad Boys 3, perfect airplane movie.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, like not a great film.
Okay.
Checked out most of the time.
Entertaining.
Like, entertaining.
Nice.
Loud enough.
Uh-huh.
To get through the plane.
Sure.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Nice. Oh, man. I got to watch that then because the first one was great. The second one, I remember being like, this is fun.
Yeah,
I like
fine.
revisiting these characters.
Yeah. The third one, they definitely...
Mike Lowry.
Yeah.
Mike Lowry.
Definitely, they should stop.
They need to stop.
They should stop with those.
They're getting a little old.
Yeah. The gimmicks aren't working as well.
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence like couldn't do like a lot of the physical stuff, it seems like. So, and there's a couple stunts where it's like very clearly not them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little too much at this age.
Yeah.
And isn't this let's do a Bad Boys sidebar. I believe like Will Smith was apprehensive to do the movie. And even like there was a chase scene, that classic slow motion shot of Will Smith, his shirt's open, he's wearing some flowy silk thing, and he's running down the street and he's got the pistol in his hand. Yeah. And he didn't want to have his shirt, like his chest exposed. He's like, this is ridiculous. And Michael Bay's like, do it for me. We'll do a couple of takes. And then he showed him the dailies and he was like, do you see that? You are now an action star. Like
this was the original?
Yeah, this was like this big shift in his career where he was like, oh, I can play leading man action. Like this is actually a lane I can be in.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it was like Michael Bay having the vision and forethought, like, you're more than just the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better Michael Bay films too.
It is.
It's like that. I think Michael Bay, for me, at least peaked. Like I guess would be like The Rock would be like the last one. That was like 97.
Rock was great.
Then after that, it kind of like fell off a cliff a little bit.
My favorites, not what I say are the best, but my favorites are Bad Boys and Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain's a good one. That was low key, like a pretty decent film.
I think you're just like bodybuilders. And
you're kind of like The Rock and like Mark Wahlberg or whatever.
You're kind of like, I could skip this. But then I saw it and I was like, man, this makes me want to work out. This is great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get some creatine.
It kind of has the same effect as Wolf of Wall Street, where it's like
for doing coke.
Yeah, for doing coke and like capitalism.
Oh yeah.
And like the sheer like wanting more and like not giving in and like the manicness of that whole thing. Similar energy, I think, in Pain and Gain, where it's like, we gotta like be bigger, stronger. We gotta do these things, and it's like to their own faults. They're just like basically self-sabotaging themselves throughout the film, and that's kind of what you're watching. But you're also kind of like rooting for them, oddly.
Yeah. And I love that Ed Harris, as the narrator, keeps coming back to, I want to remind you, this is a true story.
Yes.
Because it gets so outlandish.
Yeah.
Wild and weird and crazy. I actually watched a true crime, like A&E did the real story of these guys. And the guy who, what's the victim? Tony Shalhoub?
What's
his name?
I think it's Tony Shalhoub.
Shalhoub.
I think.
Shalhoub. Yeah, Shalhoub.
You might be wrong.
Shalom.
Yeah.
that like his family sued, like Jerry Bruckheimer and like they sued the whole production just because like they were like, this is a nice guy, like this is not the piece of shit that you guys depicted him as, but it was like, well, they took some liberties, absolutely.
Yeah.
And but anyways, apparently like that guy was well respected in the community and was not but they had to do that shift because the whole point was like you're putting The Rock and you're putting Mark Wahlberg in positions of bad guys.
You can't make them like big off bad guys the whole movie. You have to give them something to root for.
Yeah.
So that you make them seem like they're taking down a bad guy.
I think it's fascinating to take. I mean, it's absolutely a true crime story and make it a comedy. Like it's arguably like it's an action comedy or it's I don't know but it's a funny movie.
Yeah.
And to take that story, like can't imagine taking like the Menendez brothers and being like, we're gonna do a little humorous twist on this. It's like, no,
that's like
what?
What's that one movie made by Michael Henke? I'm forgetting about it. It's like two guys like basically abduct a family. I can't remember. It's like Playtime.
Something games.
Funny Games.
Funny Games.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Oof. Yeah, that movie's like a classic. I watched it once and I'm good. But thank you though.
Yes,
it's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm okay though.
Well, and it's was it a Danish film at first, and then there was an American remake with Michael Pitt.
Yeah.
And Tim Roth and Naomi Watts.
Yeah, I think it was Michael Haneke. I think I'm saying his name right. Please.
I'm not familiar with him.
He's a really good director. You should go.
What else did he do?
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking because he has a whole style. One of my favorite films is about this guy or this person. They don't know who. Is just leaving tapes at these people's house, and it's all about like surveillance. And I'm blanking on it really hard. And he's done other stuff too. I'm just blanking on him really hard.
Michael Haneke?
I think so. Just I guess Funny Games and then go from there.
There we go. He's an Aussie film director.
Oh.
Let's see what else he's got to his
Aussie
name.
or Austrian?
Aussie.
Aussie.
Oh no, you're right. Austrian.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Did he do the original as well?
Funny Games?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, they remade. He did both.
He did both of them.
Classic
Okay.
Both.
Let's see. What else did he do? Boy, he's got a lot of credits to his name.
Yeah, he's a big old deal.
Funny Games, Code Unknown, Piano Teacher, Time of the Wolf, Cash.
Oh, Time of the Wolf.
Are you familiar with that? Yeah.
I know Time of the Wolf. I watched that a long time ago. I think that's a French
Man, I gotta dive into his stuff.
The one I
can't... The White Ribbon.
I didn't watch that one.
Amour. Michael Haneke.
As a Michael Haneke fan, I'm really disappointing myself.
Okay, well that makes sense. So he did both of these.
Yeah.
So the first one was in '97, and then he remade it 10 years later in '07.
Double the money.
Man, that scene where they take her out in the boat and like they just push her out of the boat all tied up, and then it just keeps going. They hold on that shot for a long time. And, she's just just sinking.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that haunts my dreams.
Oh.
That's the worst.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yikes. So anyways, Enter the Dragon.
Enter the Dragon.
Wasn't it crazy in Enter the Dragon that he's wearing MMA gloves?
Yes.
Right at the beginning?
Yes, he is.
And then puts a guy in an armbar, I believe?
Yes. And also to the side, we got to change the MMA gloves. At least the UFC gloves.
Yeah.
To
the curved onyx ones that Trevor Whitman has created.
Yeah, and I also like the ones where they cup the fingers. Like you still can move them, but they're like in shroud.
Yeah.
In like a leather or something to like prevent eye pokes. It's like a mitten almost.
We've been having like, I can't remember specifically which fight night it was, but it was just an egregious number of eye pokes.
Yes, I believe, was that the leg? I refer to it as the leg fight night because like everyone fucked up their legs.
Was it?
Yes.
Like Weidman.
Yeah.
Did you hear? Weidman was doing an interview or whatever, and they're having trouble with full circulation coming back to that leg.
Oh no!
And there's still chance of amputation.
Oh no!
If it doesn't, I mean, and the dude's light sparring on it. Like there's a video of him just doing some touch sparring. It's just like, just focus on keeping your limbs, man. Please.
Yeah. Do like the PT that's required.
Pretty please don't think about fighting right now.
Mm-mm.
I want to see that guy with a aluminum leg for the rest of his life.
I don't think he would want to see himself like that either. I hope
he's such a beast.
Yeah, he's such a good fighter. I don't know if he'll ever get to the top again, but
yeah, that's probably
he's a good guy to root for.
That ship has probably sailed. Was it the because I know Bilal Muhammad got the gnarly eye poke from
I saw the
Leon.
guy the first time I went to New York for interview for. No, I wasn't interviewing. Gus went for an interview. Yeah. We stayed at a hotel, and the UFC fighters were staying in the hotel. And one of the fighters was Bilal Muhammad, and I didn't meet him, but I stood next to him in an elevator, and he's not 5'10".
Oh, for real?
Yeah, definitely not 5'10". He also had a giant hickey on his neck. And Gus and I was like looking at him, I was like, is this Bilal Muhammad? I was like, is that one hickey on his neck?
No shit.
I hit Augusta and pointed, and she had no idea who he was.
Oh my god.
Same thing with Rafael Sunsao.
Okay.
We were eating in the there's a little diner area. We were eating there, and we went and got bagels and came back to eat. Rafael Sunsao and his crew of two just humongous people who are either his trainers or his bodyguards or something. And Rafael Sunsao is all of 5'3".
He's a tiny dude. Yeah.
And
little ball of muscle.
Uh-huh. And they come in and they're wearing kind of their workout, kind of a windbreaker type stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him and I'm like, oh, that's Rafael Sunsao. And I start hitting Augusta, and she's looks over and she's like, is that one of the UFC guys? I said, yeah. And he's looking at our bagel and looking at the menu at the place there's no bagel on the menu. It was toast and waffles and that weird toaster thing you could get.
Okay.
And because we went out and got bagels, so he was looking at our food and he was trying to find it on the menu, and he was speaking Portuguese to his two people he brought with him, and then he leaves and Augusta goes, which one is that one? And I was like, it was Rafael Sunsao. And she's like, again, who's that?
That's a deep cut.
Yeah. And she's like, which one was it? I was like, the little guy. And she was like, wait, that was the UFC fighter? I was like, we were this close to death. You don't understand.
Oh my God.
He's a demon.
Yeah.
But yeah, she thought it was one of the bigger guys he was with. Definitely
sure,
not.
that's your assumption.
Yeah, it's oh my God, it's one of the UFC fighters, one of these big oaks of people.
Yeah, if you see Henry Cejudo, you'd probably recognize him.
Yeah.
But if you saw him with his team, and his train, it'd be yeah, he's the smallest dude.
Yeah.
But he's the champ.
The triple champ, triple C.
Yeah, triple C. It's triple cringe.
You think he'll come back?
I don't know. It seems. I was really happy that he was I'm riding off into the sunset.
Smart move.
Yeah, but it seemed premature. Boy, you talking about a Sunsao, it just takes me back to Cody Garbrandt's KO of a Sunsao.
Yeah,
and how beautiful that was. It was so it's like that timing beats speed, and precision beats power.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Cody, you've got all of those and power, and for him to just kind of rock back and then fire in. Yeah. Such a beautiful walk-off KO.
Yeah. Cody Garbrandt, man. That guy is a weird fighter. As far as he fought the perfect fight against Dominic Cruz.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I haven't seen a good fight from him. I mean, you saw the occasional knockouts. He gets in these weird slugfests now.
Yeah.
But he man, after that Cody Garbrandt, I mean that
Dillashaw or
the Dominic Cruz fight,
mm-hmm.
I was like, who the heck's gonna beat this guy?
Yeah.
He's so disciplined. He could read everything. He's a piston.
Totally.
I was like, what the heck? Ever since then, it's just he beat Dillashaw once, right? And then
I think Dillashaw has 2 wins over him.
Yeah, I think they did.
Because I think.
No, he rocked Dillashaw. Dillashaw made it out of the round.
Yeah. And then came back and
knocked him out.
It was so close. I thought that fight was over.
Yeah.
And I was in a bar. I think it was a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was the only person rooting for Dillashaw, which surprised me. I was like, this is a Colorado bar, and he's a Colorado dude.
Yeah, isn't he Colorado Springs or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was not getting the love here in Fort Collins.
Well, Cody Garbrandt's a very handsome young man. So, and he's got some really cool tattoos.
Yeah.
And I think that resonates here. I don't know.
Well, I'm really excited to see TJ return. Dillashaw versus Sandhagen.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight. Because, like, what's Dillashaw going to look like? I'm curious because, PEDs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like TJ. I was very sad at the PED, not allegation, the absolute like blatant use of.
Yes.
And he absolutely owned up to it. I actually think he handled it better than
he just took it. He was like,
he took it,
and he just like walked away.
Handled it better than say like a Jon Jones.
Yeah.
But
you mean what is it? The picogram?
The pulsing and the
the picograms. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He had like traces of it still inside of him.
Picograms
or whatever. That was funny as shit.
And that's the stuff that even Anthony Smith has come out to say, where USADA or maybe it was the commission was telling him, he was like, Jon Jones is failing all of these tests, and it was the fight week leading up to their bout, and Smith was like, well, I'm not backing out. Like, I'm staying with it the whole way. But I don't know how. I mean, I think Anthony Smith has a ton of integrity, and I pretty much believe him at his word.
That doesn't seem like something you would necessarily make up. And if he was making it up, why not sue him? Unless
And was it that fight when all the picogram talk was happening? I'm forgetting the timeline.
It was before that, actually.
Okay,
there's a different fight. I could be wrong, but I remember the picogram memes were pretty strong back then. And like also Jon Jones, what a weird. I don't know what he's doing. Like he took a step back to fight heavyweight, and now he just doesn't seem like he really wants to. And like part of me thinks he's like angling to make sure he gets enough money, which he should by all means go for it. I mean, you're in a really tough sport. Make sure you get the money you can get. But like I think since Ngannou, I think was shown by that Dominic Cruz and is it Thiago Silva? The guy who like was on one leg and like basically took him 5 rounds and like hurt him a couple times.
Thiago Silva?
Yeah, was it Thiago Silva?
Thiago Santos?
I think that's right. The guy with the
with the hammer. He's got Mjolnir on his chest.
I think what those showed, at least for me, and maybe him, is he has, when it comes to power, and if someone has similar reach or near similar reach or more power than him, I think he got kind of shook. And I think when he sees Ngannou, I mean, nobody wants to fight that guy.
Yeah, he's like, if that guy touches me.
Yeah, and then that also explains...
This record of mine is out the window.
Yeah, then you have to think about all the people who are coming up in light heavyweight, like Jan Bakovic or whatever. I can't pronounce his name.
Blachowicz, I think, something like that.
That guy he's a big guy who's really strong, really smart, and pretty long.
Yeah.
And like can wrestle. You can do all the same things. I think Jon Jones saw who was coming, and like Dominic Cruz, even Dominic Cruz lost to Blachowicz.
Yeah, Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, lost to him, like got knocked out.
Yeah.
Like it was a pretty close fight, but he like got knocked out by him. I was like, if you see that, and I thought that guy Dominic, I'm forgetting his name already.
Reyes,
Dominic Reyes. I thought there was an argument to be made. He won that fight against Jon Jones.
There's an argument that he won those first 3 and then lost the last 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's 3-2.
Yeah.
And in the game we're playing, you just lost, John.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
That's not how the judges saw it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think there's something to be said where when you win the belt, you should like straight up win it, like take it, like make it very clear that you won.
You got to take it from the champ.
And like tie goes to basically if it's close, they're just gonna give it back. But
that's how I felt about Henry Cejudo winning his title from DJ. I was like, you didn't beat him.
No.
Like, I actually don't think you even won the fight, but
I don't think he won the fight either.
Yeah.
I also kind of in Nate Diaz's camp with that second Conor fight, where I thought Nate won.
That was super close.
It was really close, and that's like a classic. If the fight kept going, Conor's losing. Like, he's not going to make it out.
Well, after this Leon Edwards fight, Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards,
classic.
Faraz Sahabi came out and he was just was making comments like, if there were no time limits, Nate would win every fight.
Yeah,
because he's just that durable, and he's going to just take you
and his
deeper
cardio
and deeper.
Crazy.
Yeah, and certainly with Leon Edwards, that was the case.
Yeah,
that he rocked him in the last minute of the 5th round.
Yeah.
Now, given he was getting his ass kicked for all of the
4.5 rounds.
four rounds in 4 minutes. But yeah, at the end, he's just so durable.
That guy is just made of something else. He's got just. It's funny that he lost that fight, but also it seemed like he won it because he was able to like show that if the fight was gonna go, and he got him so hurt. Like Leon Edwards never got him to the point where, at least I can't remember if he did. I don't think he did get to the point where it's like Nate is getting his ass kicked, but it doesn't look like he's like falling down, wobbling over. Like Leon Edwards looked vulnerable for a solid like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's like
more so than Nate did in the entire fight.
Yeah, so that right at the end, so that really sticks with I think the audience and like the viewers were like, I don't know, Nate. If that fight kept going, if this was a street fight and there's no time limit, like Nate's winning this thing.
Yeah.
So
that's great, and you're right. That is what the narrative became. It wasn't that Leon did so well for the majority of the fight. It became, did you see Nate rock him at the end?
Yeah.
And
Nate almost had that.
And it's a fair point to make. If I were Leon Edwards, I'd be pissed that that's the narrative and that his stock doesn't really go up after that fight.
It's still like the same. Like he was supposed to fight for the belt. He was supposed to show why he was gonna get like that next shot at the belt against Usman. And Dana White was like, "Yeah, you're not selling as much as Colby." And Colby's like straight on his BS.
Yeah.
Like whatever weird marketing ploy he's doing at the moment.
Is he sticking with the MAGA stuff?
He's sticking with it. And he like
the shtick.
And then also like he had an interview with Usman, and like Usman was like, "I broke your jaw." And he's like, "No, you didn't. You know you didn't." It's just like, this is not a good look. Like, we know he broke your jaw. We have like literal x-rays of your jaw being broken, like having a fracture in it. And he's just going with that like straight denial, like, I won the fight, you didn't win it. Like, he got stopped. Like
totally.
Like, I don't know.
Like, I definitively beat you.
Yeah.
And he did, and actually Kobe did rock him like in the 2nd round or something. And it was like, whoa, Usman's on shaky legs. But that was the only moment in the fight.
And I think Usman's gotten better.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. He's more scary. I think he's better on his... I think that was the first fight where it's like, you're on your feet fighting. Because they were both wrestlers. Neither one of them really wanted to go down with each other and expend that energy. So they kept it on the feet for that fight, which was why that fight was, like, awesome. But that last fight... Who did Usman just fight?
Masvidal.
He beat the crap out of him.
That was incredible.
His hands are, like, a lot better, even from, Colby's fight to Masvidal. I mean, unless Colby really like takes a big step, which he was already kind of behind on as is because he lost the fight, I don't see like that. I think it's gonna be quicker.
I love what a great dude Masvidal is.
Yeah.
That he got humbled.
Yeah. And
then and they had beef going into this, and was humbled in that moment, and then. Is such a martial artist and a G who's just like, no, we're like, it's squashed. Like, I totally respect you. And you just like, yeah.
You just kicked my ass, but we're good.
You just knocked me out cold.
Yeah. I'm sure you got a nice paycheck. I wonder who Masvidal's going to fight next. He could probably fight Leon Edwards because they had that hallway beef. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, that needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
That needs to be taken care of.
Yeah. They had the hallway beef. That would sell like wildfire. Because they could just show that. They're going to show that.
Just show that clip over and over again.
Where they got in a fight. Then them doing... That'd be great. I'd watch the crap out of that.
That would be incredible. Let's end in the heavyweight division. Okay. What do you think of Cyril Gane? That is maybe the most athletic... heavyweight I've ever seen.
He's scary. If he figures he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Ngannou, which I still think Ngannou.
Because they're training partners, aren't they?
I think so.
They trained together in Paris, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that athleticism that you're talking about, I think has more potential than Ngannou. It's just Ngannou is a little further, and also Ngannou is just like so big, and his punching is so crazy. He just has to hit you a little bit, and you're just out.
It's true. And we haven't seen Gon have like one punch power.
No,
that puts you away.
He's got a little more finesse, but that can take you further. You know, but they're so big. Like he could probably muster that up in some, you know, aspect. But I want to see him develop. Obviously, like I think if you give him enough time, I think he would be a real big pain in the ass. He kind of reminds me like a more athletic Kane.
Yeah.
And
I
Kane's
can see that.
Terrifying.
Absolutely.
When Kane
was Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cain Velasquez was, arguably the best heavyweight to ever compete.
Yeah.
And then all of the litany of injuries that he sustained in trainings and stuff. Yeah, his career just wasn't fully realized because of terrible injuries.
Yeah.
But I've never seen, with Ciryl Gane, I've never seen a heavyweight that's still bouncing on the balls of his feet deep into the fifth round.
Yeah.
And his cardio's insane. He doesn't move like a heavyweight.
Well,
what if Jon's first heavyweight fight was against Ciryl Gane?
That's a great fight. Because I think Jon doesn't have that same bounciness, but his length is so difficult, and his like, I feel like it's the DNA, because his brothers are just also like specimens of humans.
Yeah.
It's just that would be a great fight. That's a really good fight. You should like you apply for a job for them. Just start making the fights.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be a great gig for you,
dude. I think you and I could we had notes and stuff like this. This was a perfect rambling conversation, and I really think you and I could just like do a weekly segment just on MMA.
If we can,
MMA news.
I might have to phone in, but
that'd be awesome.
Also, I guess we could also talk. Did you see the Brandon Moreno fight?
Oh yeah.
Man, I remember his...
Love that guy.
Yeah, I love the guy.
I saw that with your family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember watching the first fight that I saw with Brandon Moreno's first fight in the UFC. He did it on like a week's notice against Luis Smolka and choked him out. And I remember being like, holy shit, this little kid just fucking choked out Luis Smolka.
That's awesome.
And I remember...
Smolka's he's a legend. He's been around for a long time.
He's a good
Maybe
fighter.
not a legend, but he's a...
He's a good, like, what do you call him? Journeyman.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter. He's nothing to come in on like a week's notice and choke him out. It's crazy. And now he's the champ.
Smolka he's got a fight coming up.
Yeah, what is the card this weekend? I know it's obviously Conor McGregor, Poirier.
Is next, yeah, right?
And I don't see how Conor wins that.
That's actually on your birthday, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, what is your take on that?
I don't see... There's a thing with Poirier... I was talking to Gusta about this.
Oh, Sean O'Malley. That's who Smolka's fighting next.
Didn't he just pull out?
Was that been canceled? Do you know?
There was something about Sean O'Malley's opponent pulling out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does look like he's out now. Smolka's out. Okay, so there's got to be a new opponent. Well, god damn it. That's disappointing.
Sean O'Malley,
he's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, too.
But yeah, what were you saying about...
Well, the thing that I think Poirier has over Conor, which I think showed in the last fight, is the sport of MMA and the UFC has just evolved so quickly into such a... You have to be so diverse in your skill set that I feel like Conor fell behind. Unlike Dustin. Dustin, I'd say, back when they first fought, had worse hands than Conor, for sure. Now, I think Dustin has better hands than Conor. I think Conor's pretty much what he is. You know, he's that, bouncy southpaw karate stance, throwing that left hand like a piston, where like Poirier will box the crap out of you.
Yeah.
He can also
sits
wrestle.
Behind that jab.
Yeah. Great head movement. I mean, any guy who could beat Max Holloway standing up, like, they know what they're doing up there.
Yep.
And Max also looks like an absolute demon. I really want to see what happens after Brian Ortega fights. I forgot the guy's name. Starts with a V. The Aussie guy.
Oh, Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, Volkov. That I want to see, after that, whoever wins, I don't see Brian Ortega. I don't know how he wins that without just like catching him, like grabbing him.
That's gonna be the way he does it,
yeah.
Or that's the only way he can do it.
Yeah,
yeah.
But like at the same time, we're talking about a guy who outstruck Max in theory. Although that second fight, I don't know. But, I mean, it was close.
Yeah.
But it's like on par, at least striking with Max. And Brian got his butt kicked to the point where Max was trying to teach him mid-fight how to, like, defend.
Yeah. Oh, totally. He was putting on a clinic for him.
Yeah.
That was a rough watch. That was so hard to watch.
That was really... Because I like Brian Ortega.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's very likable.
Yeah. Great hair.
Great hair. He used to have great hair.
Did he shave it?
He shaved it off.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him in a minute.
I know his hair was amazing.
Yeah.
As a bald guy myself, I'm like, why would you do that?
What are you doing?
That's not cool, man. And Max Holloway, his performance against Calvin Kattar, to put on a clinic against Kattar, who arguably had the best boxing in the biz.
Yeah, arguably at the time
in MMA.
At least one of the most. He was at least known for his competitiveness up top, like fighting with his hands, and just getting like to the point where Max Holloway isn't even looking at him, yelling at the crowd, and just like punching him in the face. It's crazy.
Doing no looks.
Yeah,
like he's looking away and
just saying, "I'm the best, and just punching him in the face. It's like that's crazy.
He has crazy belief in himself too, which is so endearing, and also like I remember when he lost to Poirier and he's like hugging his son in the crowd, and his son is just a wreck.
I mean, he put up a good fight against Poirier. I think it just came down to, I mean, he did that in what, like a week's notice or something crazy?
Yeah, and Poirier's just so much bigger. Poirier's a big guy. Yeah,
that's another thing. Like I think Poirier's also bigger than Conor.
Yeah.
Like I know they cut the same weight, but like when you see their frames, like Conor used to be kind of like a bigger guy for that division, but I think now Poirier's kind of like. Although Poirier's, I think, isn't he older? I think he's in his like mid-30s, mid to late.
Mid to late.
Yeah, so I would say that's like the wild card as well.
Connor's early to mid.
Yeah, but Conor just doesn't. Conor will be fresher, as in like he'll probably have more. But Connor's never had good cardio, so that's only going to last so long. Conor's notorious for bad cardio.
It's true. Yeah, those later rounds you see him running away. You see him
become a wrestler, as Nate Diaz says.
Yeah. That's right. What do you think happens to Conor if he loses this?
I mean, I don't think he fights in the UFC again if he loses. I think he goes to like either acting. I think the whiskey thing's going well.
Yeah. Do you need to get in the ring anymore?
Yeah, I'd say you go like WWE, go the Rousey route maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, he says showman. Like,
totally.
I feel like if he could like do, I don't know if he's big enough.
I'd love it to see him go acting.
Yeah.
Vanessa and I have had this fantasy about we want to make like this ties in perfectly to the topic today that we've kind of touched on, but like MMA and film. Mm-hmm. I was like, God, it'd be great to get some of these really not just charismatic personalities, but some of the kind of under the radar people. Like I think Rose Namajunas in a movie would be incredible, even if she's just mean mugging as part of somebody's crew. Yeah, and you get to see her show her stuff, kick some ass in street clothing.
She's awesome.
Paul Felder, who has a background in theater.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was a theater major. He's been in numerous plays and productions. I'm like, God, let's get a good script to Paul Felder.
Yeah,
and see if we can get that thing made.
Paul Felder has good like camera presence too. Like he as an announcer, like really knows how to like.
He's great.
He's great. He's really good at it.
I was happy to hear his retirement. Yeah, not that I didn't want to see him fight again.
He was a good fighter. I think if he kind of got in the UFC later in his career, I don't know why that is exactly, but I mean he had a couple good runs. I really am kind of honestly sad for him because he was supposed to fight Khabib in New York City. And the commission wouldn't let him fight because he wasn't a ranked fighter at the time.
Oh, shit.
So they got that other gentleman who's from Jersey, who's like the real estate agent. He's a good fighter, too.
Yes. I'm
blanking on him so hard right now.
Yeah, we'll think of it. Yes. I'm thinking of his training partner, Gian Vellante.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're Long Island guys.
Yeah, that guy ended up standing. Yeah, it's driving me a little crazy right now. But he ended up getting that fight. But Paul Felder was originally supposed to get that fight.
But he wasn't ranked, so he didn't get it.
Yeah, which is a dumb reason to like not let Paul Felder fight, who was like on the card already. I think in shape, and was like, yeah, let's do it. And the commissioner was like, well, he's not ranked. And it's like, that's not how this, it's not exactly how this works.
Yeah.
It's like, and they just implemented the ranking thing, I think, recently around that time. Because like everyone was like, oh, I got to fight a top 10 guy, top 15. And the reason they do that shit is the same reason they do it for like college sports. You know, so the casual fan knows where these people are in theory on some sort of obscure ranking.
Yeah.
It's for more for the casual fan, the ranking, so people can kind of keep track of things. But for the people who actually watch it, it's like Paul Felder versus like Khabib would have been a good fight.
It would have been an awesome fight.
It would have been a good fight.
It would have been violent.
Yeah. I feel like Paul Felder wouldn't have been scared at all. I think Paul Felder probably might have get choked out, but I think
most likely.
But
because he loves that spinning shit.
Yeah,
and I think that's very susceptible to level change, and then now you're on the ground.
And then, but like I also feel like he wouldn't have been nearly as conservative as the other guy was. I remember the other guy was basically fighting over his like left knee. To like stick the jab and make sure he didn't get taken down. And he made it like I think all 5 rounds or something, and did pretty well on the ground.
This is I'm gonna be so pissed when we read off the name because I know this guy. Okay, let's see. All right, Al Iaquinta. I knew it was a cool name. That's a super cool name.
Yeah,
Al Iaquinta. Yeah, and that was really impressive that Al went the whole 5 rounds with him.
Yeah, he did really well. It's like not that he did bad, but I felt like he was. Yeah, I mean, what do you do with Khabib? I mean, I guess is the question. You know, he's just so dominant on the ground.
Apparently, Dana is still asking him to fight more. Like, he still wants him to fight again. He's like, I don't know if you've been hearing me, but I'm retired.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll ever come out? Would he come out for GSP?
I don't think GSP's coming out.
Nah, I don't think so either.
GSP, I think, is chilling. He's got a pool. He just dyed his hair recently. He's doing acting roles.
Just him having hair is wild.
Yeah, like he's chilling. I don't think GSP comes out. I think that ship sailed. I don't think GSP has any interest in fighting. I don't know. Why would you come out of such a like... For a guy who's reportedly also said he doesn't really like fighting.
Yeah.
Like, who's like nervous before fights and like it's like anxiety, who happened to be just one of the greatest, if not greatest fighters in UFC history. I just don't see like why.
Yeah,
like,
why would you do it?
Why would you do it? It's like you're in like Captain America and stuff.
Yep.
Like,
also a guy who went out on top.
Yeah.
In a different way. I mean, Khabib had the flawless record.
Yeah.
Which is great, but GSP gets the title back, and then
in a different division.
In a different division, that's right.
In a different division, and like.
Boy, he came back looking thick.
Big. He was a big boy.
Yeah.
I remember him coming back. I was like, his thighs were like.
He was huge.
He's just a big guy. Poor. He fought
Bisping. Yeah. And then Bisping's such a G. He loses, goes on that war, gets fully choked out, and then accepts a fight against Calvin Gastelum, like within a month later or something, and then he gets KO'd, and then he retires.
Yes. Yeah, but good for him. He got the belt. I always
love him as a commentator now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always rewatch the pre-fight stuff with him and Luke Rockhold, because Luke Rockhold was such a dick to him.
Yeah.
It was like, you're not even on my level. This is gonna be the easiest fight. And you can even tell during the fight that he just didn't like respect Bisping, and Bisping just pieced him up.
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm from the streets, and we're gonna do this.
It's like, I've been fighting for years. I'm gonna try to hit you in the face.
Yeah.
And Luke Rockhold also fell off a cliff too, a bit.
Yeah, man, I wish he were more likable, because I like watching him fight. I like his style. He's got one of the best question mark kicks in the game.
Yeah, he had a lot of that like just pure athleticism that some fighters just don't have. Some fighters do have, but he was very athletic. Had flaws, obviously, but just kind of just an ass.
Just a douchey guy that you wouldn't want to run into.
Yeah, you just like,
just stick to being a polo model.
Which good for you.
Yeah. Good for you for being so handsome.
Yeah, you're a handsome guy. Yeah. Good for you.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Dario, this has been awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Let's do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, we'll get like a remote setup figured out. Put the mic in front of. I'm sure there's a way you could probably plug in something to it.
We'll figure a good way to do it long distance. But
yeah.
Awesome. Dario.
Thank you.
Thank you again, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This has been Hot Mike. See you next time.